And it's something that you're always improving, right? So it's not content is one of those things where it's not really something that you just like set it and forget about it or outsource it. Usually, even in like some of the bigger businesses that I consult in, content is like the one thing that the owner almost always stays in, right? Like they'll outsource setting, right? Like conversations. They'll outsource closing, which is sales. They'll outsource coaching, which is the fulfillment of their process, but they'll never outsource content marketing. And the ones that do, I actually see go through a little bit of a decline inside of their coaching business and inside of applications that they get on a monthly basis and what exactly that looks like. So that's important to keep in mind. It's not necessarily something that is something you want to be very quick with or outsource quickly. It's something that should always be core to what you do. And to be quite honest, you almost want to outsource everything else before you outsource your content. Now, with that being said, you guys are wearing, all three of you guys on this call, you guys are wearing all the hats in your coaching business right now. So inside of, and a lot of the coaches that I work with do, right? The majority of them. So you guys want to find a good flow with what works best for you with everything else that you got going on. Because that's going to be the sweet spot inside of what's sustainable for you, but also making sure that you can do the absolute best inside of your content marketing as well. So that's a main picture and kind of like me setting the stage here in terms of content marketing and kind of ecosystem. But the reason why I wanted to talk about this today, which is the start of July, is usually for the summer, not just for myself, but for some of the clients that I work with as well. Justin, kind of exactly what you said at the top of the call. Summer usually gives you a little bit of wiggle room in terms of your schedule, in terms of maybe you have a little bit more downtime than you otherwise would have normally, like throughout the year. And it's a good time to just kind of beef up your content ecosystem, right? Like if there's been certain things that you guys have always been meaning to do, like maybe you wanted to get started on YouTube, maybe you wanted to start a podcast, maybe you want to post on Instagram more or Facebook more, depending on where you guys are at. Summer is a really good time to be able to take up one of these new projects and just get the ball rolling, right? With getting an additional potential channel inside of your content marketing moving forward. So that's why I want to show you guys what I'm doing as well inside of my health fitness coaching company, and potentially give you guys some ideas for your own content ecosystem as you guys are trying to beef it up and potentially fill in some gaps inside of what you guys are doing as well. And there's going to be like one or two new things that I'm going to show you too. So anyway, without further ado, let me share my screen. This might look a little bit small, but bear with me. I'll zoom in and we'll go from there. So you guys have seen this before in terms of like the outline of what this looks like. This is just kind of like a bird's eye view, right? Of what is the main action plan inside of any given month. Now, I make this on Lucid charts, LUCID charts. It's a really, really good. I mean, there's probably a lot of different ways you can do this now with AI as well, but it's a really good software to be able to just like mind map out what your strategy looks like inside of any given month, any given week, whatever it may be. And this is usually where I start, right? Like before I start creating like the outlines of content, before I start creating content, like the reels or the Facebook posts or the YouTube shorts or the emails or the podcasts, like any of that stuff, it first starts with me kind of like mapping everything out and understanding how everything works together, right? Because you guys know me, I like to be efficient, and especially inside of how I coach you guys as well. I like to be efficient inside of everything that I do. So if I'm going to go to a trouble to make a week's worth of content, like you guys can kind of see here, I want to make sure I can get the main themes of what these individual posts look like, and then be able to put them inside of a podcast and inside of a YouTube video as well. Now, before I even get to like scripting all of this stuff out, what I usually like to start with is, okay, what's the main goal for this month, right? Because this is by far and away the most important North Star, if you will, yeah, inside of what your content marketing looks like for any given month is what's the main goal, right? So for example, if we're in, let's say December, because this is what I taught last December, and you guys had some pretty good success with it. If the main goal is to be able to book more health map strategy calls, right? Like for the upcoming year, maybe my goal is to book 10 of those, then that's going to be my main focus, right? For December. For July, just for the sake of me creating this training today, and for what my actual goal is in July for Reconnected Health, is to educate my following on premium one-on-one coaching and what exactly that looks like, and then give them a chance to be able to apply, right? So that's the main goal. That's what I want to educate on. That's kind of like the common theme in which I want all of my posts to be connected with. Then inside of that, I'll start to chunk down, right? So like these are my big rocks, which honestly probably isn't too dissimilar to you guys as well, right? So my big rocks are 4 call to actions. So that would be 1 call to action every single week, which usually is what I recommend for you guys as well. I've got 1 like call in sequence at the end of the month where I'm actually calling in clients. I want to be able to send out 20 value videos, which is pretty similar to a lot of your goals as well. Going to spend $1,000, give or take, in ads, just for followers and more like awareness ads, potentially DM ads. But $1,000 a month is a pretty good budget for just getting new attention inside of everything that you're doing. And then what I'd also like to do, which is within my control and something I recommend every single client do, no matter where you're at in business, is follow up with your lead list. Like Alvi, this is huge for you, and make 20 direct coaching offers to people inside of my network as well, as long as they're a good fit for me and what my coaching is, right? So I know, like before I even get into this stuff, which I know can kind of look overwhelming, but I'll get into it in a second. Regardless of everything downstream from this, if I can follow through with all this stuff inside of my monthly big rocks, and this is primarily marketing and sales, right? Then it doesn't matter like what happens with some of my posts, like how well they did engagement wise, what's going on with the algorithm, what's going on with my energy, right? Like maybe I have some personal shit going on right now, which we all do at certain points in time, no matter what it is. I know as long as I can hit these big rocks inside of my coaching business, that's successful, right? Like I can't control exactly how many clients I get. I can't control exactly how much cash collected I get. Yes, there's different things I can do to influence that, but what is 100% within my control is this, right? Is me like setting my initial game plan in terms of what the big rocks are for July, and then just making sure that I hit these big rocks. Because if I can stack months where I am just hitting my big rocks month after month after month after month, then I know without a shadow of a doubt, like I'm going to reach my goals. It's just a matter of time, right? It's just a matter of time. The issues are when you're not hitting your big rocks. Because if you're not hitting your big rocks, then you're not really going to come close to hitting the KPIs that you want to hit, get the clients that you want to get. And you're just not going to get to where you want to go because you're always losing sight of what the main picture is, right? Because this is pretty common with coaching, is that sometimes like we can obsess over a little tiny post that we made, and maybe it did well, maybe it didn't, and we get butthurt about it or whatever it may be. And it's hard for us to like zoom out and be like, bro, that was just, that was just a little tiny thing in terms of the entire picture that we have inside of any given month, right? That was just one little post, one little tiny thing. And whether or not it went according to plan or not, honestly, doesn't really matter, because the big thing that matters is that we take action on all of this, right? So sometimes it's important to zoom out and look at things at a bird's eye view, because that's what coaching businesses are, and building this is don't get too obsessed over like the little individual posts or processes that add up to the overall ecosystem. Because I know this sounds counterintuitive, but I'd rather you complete the entire content ecosystem in the best possible way at like 75%, 80% quality instead of obsessing over one individual post at 100% quality. Because then you're just putting so much pressure on one little thing where you're losing sight on kind of what the big picture actually looks like. So anyway, that's just one thing I see inside of my consulting. Not really a big deal for you guys on this call, but something I think we all kind of fall prey to in the game of social media marketing that we need to remind ourselves of what the big picture is. So anyway, me starting with what the main focus is and what my big rocks are. This is something I always recommend for you guys and for all the clients that I work with is start with this because then it informs everything else that you're about to do inside of what your content marketing looks like. So that's the first thing. And that's the most important thing. Now we're getting into kind of how we're outlining our weeks. Okay. So this is specific for me. So you guys might not have a post every single day. As you guys can see, I have a post every single day. I'm also posting on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube Shorts. And then I'm sending out one email a week, right? So for you guys, this might be unsustainable, which I totally understand. Maybe it's 4 times a week, right? Maybe it's 3 times a week. And maybe you're just focused on Instagram and Facebook, and that's it, right? Maybe you're not looking to grow on YouTube just yet, or whatever it may be. But like I said, summer's a really good time to potentially build on a new platform just to test, right? And just like I said, I like to be efficient inside of everything that I do. So if I'm going to go to the trouble to make an Instagram reel, I'm posting that on my Facebook business page as well, right? And I'm posting that on YouTube Shorts as well, right? For the simple reason of why the heck not? Because it's a reel, right? And it's or a short, like whatever you want to call it. It does well on these other platforms as well. And especially for my ideal client for Reconnected Health, which is more so like 50 plus busy professionals, let's say business owners. A lot of them are on Facebook too, right? And a lot of them are seeing stuff on YouTube as well. So I'm not going to put all my eggs in one basket on Instagram. I'm going to start to get some new attention in some different platforms as well, just to essentially dig my well before I'm thirsty. And it's really easy to do. You're just repurposing it on some of these different platforms. And the reason why this is important is because you'd be surprised. You might post something on Instagram's Reels and it gets whatever's relative to you. Let's say like 500 views, right? But you might post that on YouTube Shorts and it gets like 5,000 views, like 10x the results. And sometimes different platforms just push it to new audiences or just gives or Facebook's the same thing, right? You could post it on your Facebook business page and it gets you whatever 100,000 views, and for whatever reason it's doing better there than it is on Instagram. And this is something that I like to make sure that I'm diversifying myself in terms of attention, not to lose sight and not to like water down my content, still make my content as high quality as possible. But just make sure that I have different lines in the water, if you will, of attention coming into my brand, right? Attention coming into what my services are. So that's me just being efficient inside of what I'm doing. If I'm going to make a 60-second video, I'm not just posting it on Instagram, I'm posting it on Facebook, I'm posting it on Instagram Shorts as well, or sorry, YouTube Shorts as well, for the simple fact of why the hell not? And I know that's surface level, but like I said, you guys would be surprised. Like I posted a YouTube video, just quick story here before I continue. I posted a YouTube video around the value video, right? On like what my value video process is in this was like 2 years ago. And I really do not have a strategy for YouTube. There's coaches who have strategies for YouTube, which is great. I don't. I just post things on YouTube if I find them valuable and I just let the algorithm do its work. I had the most successful personal trainer in Dubai I know this sounds crazy. Um, he's like the top name in Dubai. He reached out to me and he hired me personally to build him out a custom value video. This was in 2024, so about 2 years ago. And he has like the highest prices in Dubai for one-on-one personal training. And he just, and I, again, I have no rhyme or reason. This is just up to the YouTube gods. He just came across my value video, YouTube video, and that's how he found me. Um, and then we got connected, and then he hired me for that, and he saw great results, and then we worked together in a different capacity as well. And that's a story that I like to share because I would have probably never ever gotten on this guy's radar. Like I didn't know he existed. He didn't know I existed before I posted that video. And then he just came across my video. And the interesting thing is that YouTube is interesting because if you're making niche specific content that might get like, I'm pretty sure that video got like 200 views or something like low, right? If you're making very niche specific content, you'd be surprised the right people who see it, right? Because they might be searching some of those keywords that you have either in that title or in that video, which the YouTube AI has picked up, and they're going to come across one of your videos. And the interesting thing, I know I've talked about this before, but the interesting thing about long form, which is why I'm so bullish on a podcast or longer form video, is that it would take someone consuming maybe like literally, let's say 10 to 50 Instagram reels or carousels or stories to be able to add up to the amount of time consumed of just one podcast, right? Or just one YouTube video, right? So that's so much time that people need to be following you on some of these short form platforms before they actually take action on something. Whereas if they see a podcast or they see a video, they can take action like almost right after it, right? Which is why I like to have a good balance between short form content and long form content as well. So anyway, that's just kind of an idea of kind of how I like to break up my weeks. Not too dissimilar to what I've taught inside of the mastermind already. And for me, I like to post every day. So to give you a quick rundown on my view of content, I'm picking one topic per week, just like I teach inside of EPDO framework. And I'm doing an educate carousel and then a reel. So I'm doing it in two different forms. One is carousel format, one is reel format. Then I'm doing a brand core values reel. So like, what do I stand for as a company? Doing a demonstrate carousel around social proof. I've got a call to action, which I'm also sending an email around. Then I've got lifestyle, and then I've got top of funnel reel. So what the top of funnel reel is like POV style reels or something that is like fun, easy for me to make. It's just like 5-second B-roll with a good hook. And essentially what this is it just gets attention, right? Because I know if I'm getting attention here, it's going to feed everything upstream of it for the foreseeable future. So this is me kind of hitting all of the main blocks that I want to hit inside of content. And then I'm going to take the main themes of all of these short form and I'm going to make a podcast or a YouTube video or both inside of that week. So that's what a successful week of content is going to look like for me. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to duplicate this, just going to pick a different topic for week 2, for week 3. And then for week 4, for me, I'm going to call in clients, right? So all of my posts are going to be more around educating around what my premium one-on-one coaching looks like, right? So at the end of all this, what I'm going to have is I'm going to have one really good podcast and YouTube video per week around a particular topic, around 7 really good short form posts around a particular topic. And then what these call to actions are going to be, depending on the topic that I'm talking about, is I want these call to actions, and this is kind of a new teaching point that I want to teach you guys today. All these call to actions lead to the same thing. Okay. They all lead to the same free mini training that I have around, and this is the hook that I'm using. You guys might want to tweak and adjust this. But it all leads to what I'm doing is how to set up your annual health protocol for XYZ results. And essentially, what this is just a 15-minute training on how I work with XYZ ideal client, how I help them achieve ABC goal, and then what my protocol looks like and how my protocol is different. So essentially what I'm doing is all of these three call to actions, they're going to be different in terms of how I'm framing it, but it all leads to the same funnel that I have, which is the mini training, right? And then they're going to book in a call with me, or I'm going to send a value video after they go through it. So I'm being very efficient, right, inside of my call to action. It's not like all of these different call to actions for these different resources and different things. It all leads to the same thing, which essentially is my VSL. And then this call to action, I'm just calling in clients. So it's a little bit different, but they're also going to go to this. And then I'm going to book in a call, send a value video. Okay. So that's what I recommend because all of these call to actions lead up to what my main goals are for this particular month, right? So to give you an example, if that's just my goal for this month, right? If I was running, let's say, a 3-day clinic this month, or let's say I was running a masterclass this month, which would be like different call to actions, then the flows would honestly be the same, but the call to actions would all be join my 3-day clinic, right? Or join my masterclass, depending on what my goal is for that particular month, right? And then all of that would flow to whatever that call to action is. And then I'm making sure that I'm generating attention to be able to run that promotional strategy for that month, right? So again, there's a rhyme and other than my YouTube strategy, there's a rhyme and reason to everything. And I like to make sure that everything is connected, but more importantly, everything is efficient, right? Because it's very easy to not be able to see the forest from the trees when it comes to social media. And I always like to make sure that I don't get too caught up into this stuff and I can always see the big picture because this is what grows your business, right? It's not any like one individual post. What grows your business is stacking months like this, right? Depending on what your individual goals are. Um, so that's an example of how I set up my content ecosystems and something that I think can help you guys as well. So one thing I also want to share with you guys is this strategy over here. So what I normally, and some of you guys might not be here yet in terms of just being able to afford it, but eventually you will get to this point, and this right here essentially pours gasoline on this fire, right? Like big time. And it can totally change the game for you is starting to run some consistent ads to be able to feed into everything else that you have going here. Um, another big mistake I see a lot of coaches make is they don't do this and they put too much time and attention on here, which can very much be churn and burn, where like you're having a lot of conversations, but sometimes they're not really going anywhere. And usually it's because we don't have a lot that we can feed them into. But when we have a good organic strategy and a good ad strategy, then all of a sudden these two things work synergistically together, right? And this is where your business can really start to take off and really see some good sustainability inside of everything that you do. So this is what I'm doing this month. Obviously, you guys can ratchet this up or ratchet it down depending on what works best for you. But I'm going to spend $30 a day on 3 ads that I have. I'm going to see which one is the winner, and then I'm just going to scale up the winner to $30 a day just for the particular one that wins, which is going to allocate to about $1,000 a month, and then I'm going to reassess from there. But this is the normal ad budget I usually recommend for coaches who are testing ads and they want to tweak and adjust which one would work best for them. But what this leads to, if this is like a DM ad, what this leads to is this same free mini training that I have all of these call to actions pointing to as well organically, right? So again, being super efficient. So based off of how I'm going to write these ads, it's going to be like totally in alignment for what this resource is that I've built, and very much in alignment with what these call to actions are as well, right? Like everything is very, very connected. So I know when I build this, this has a lot of potency to it, right? And what I mean by potency is that my time on building this is arguably one of, if not the most important things that I can do in my coaching business, because everything points to it, right? This is the conversion mechanism. Everything points to this. So my time in terms of value is most well used creating this, right? Versus creating this. So also just a good idea for you guys to be able to allocate your time effectively based off what you're building, um, based off of what's more important inside of your content ecosystem and what's more important inside of your coaching businesses as well, right? You want to make sure that you're using your time on what the most important tasks are. So that's why I say, depending on what your goals are in terms of your big rocks, obviously tweak and adjust your content ecosystem to what's sustainable for you. Because I know you guys are wearing all the hats inside of your coaching business right now. But make sure that you spend the most time on what the most potent activity is, or the highest converting mechanism it is that you have inside your coaching business. So for most of you guys, it's value video. But for me, I'm doing it to a like a standalone value video instead of individual ones for now, just because I want to really, really qualify. So I'm sending people to what my overall value video looks like. It's not individualized yet. And then once they opt in and they're a good fit for what my coaching is, then I'm going to send them an individualized value video, and then book calls on the back of that. So this, to kind of close a loop on this strategy, this just gives me more attention, essentially. I'm just paying Facebook or Meta. I'm just saying, hey, here's $1,000. If possible, I'd like you to send me 20 high quality ideal clients to be able to go through this mini training. I can see which ones I like. I'm probably going to convert 50% to actual sales calls. So this will give me around 10, I'm going to say, ideal clients that I can have good conversations with and send value videos to. And then from there, I'm probably going to get 6 or so calls and probably close most of them, to be honest. And that's what I want, right? So essentially, what this breaks down to, which I would say is pretty realistic, is I'm giving Meta $1,000 and I'm getting 10 really good leads from it, right? So you do the basic math from that, that's about $100 per lead. Now, I'm qualifying a lead as like someone who's gone through my training and someone who I'm sending a value video to, and there's a high likelihood that they're buying. Um, I'm not qualifying a lead as someone who's raising their hand, right? Someone who's raising their hand, um, that's that still is considered a lead, I would say. But for me, I want like the highest quality people. So I'm just willing to spend a lot more to be able to acquire the highest people instead of like sifting and sorting through a lot of different people. So that's an idea, right? For just basic math. If I'm giving Meta $1,000 and then people are coming into my funnel, my goal is I want at least like 10 really good ideal client conversations that I can send value videos to, which kind of breaks down to about $100 per person, right? And that's something that I'm comfortable with. And once you guys might be there now, but once you get to that point in your coaching business, then it just becomes about math at that point, right? It's like, if you can pay Meta $1,000 to give you 10 really high quality ideal clients that are opting into your stuff and they want to have a call with you, then it just comes down to how many calls do you want, right? Depending on what that conversion looks like. And then you can ratchet up or ratchet down depending on what your services look like and what your capacity looks like. But an important thing to understand is that the reason why these people would probably be so high quality is that they didn't just go through this. As they're going through this funnel, they're also like perusing some of this stuff, right? And that's what makes them high quality. And this is kind of the bulk of the work, right? Like once you've created this, it's automated for you, it's easy, and then you can cherry pick which ones you want to send value videos to, just to make sure that you're protecting your time. But this is where ideal clients really almost like self-select themselves, right? In fact, maybe some of you guys on this call did that with me. There's you probably saw some of my stuff, but it was like the consistent organic content that you consumed for a certain period of time, or a podcast or whatever it is, that really brought you into what my coaching is, right? So it's self-explanatory for you that way. That's why having a good strategy this way that is consistent for you, it makes sure that you're not burning these leads, right? And they have different things that they can sink their teeth into. Because even for me, and this might be true for you guys as well, the first thing I do when I see an ad that I like, let's say it's on Instagram, I actually don't click the button. The first thing I do is I click the profile, right? I never like take action on the thing. It's always like I want to see what you're about first before I do that. And then I'll go through some of your free stuff. And more times than not, it's like, okay, you're not for me. But sometimes they are. It's like, oh, I like the way you live. I like your core values. I like your lifestyle, right? Or I like what you stand for. And then the next time I see your ad, I'm going to opt in, right? That's how a lot of people's brains work. That's why that's why I always like to couple an ad strategy with a really strong organic strategy as well, depending on what's in alignment for you guys and where you guys are at. Um, so anyway, just to zoom back out and kind of connect all of this stuff. Um, this is kind of like the master Frankenstein plan of how everything works together. So you've got your main big rocks up here in terms of what you're aiming for in any given month. What does it look like inside of your short form posts? What does it look like inside of your long form posts? And then how are you directing all of that attention to converting it to someone who wants to apply for your coaching, right? This is the funnel. Is how can we convert attention into high quality leads, right? High quality buyers. And then you're going to self-select the ones that you want to send value videos to, and then book calls from there. And then ads just pours gasoline on that fire and getting them inside of this conversion mechanism. But this is kind of the flow that everything goes into. So for me, it's really simple. It's just a standalone value video that they're going to self-select into. And then I'm going to follow up from there based off their application. If it's any other month per se, this might be like a masterclass, right? This might be a 3-day clinic, depending on what my main focus is. But the majority of the time, it's going to be some sort of free mini training where I'm going through how to set up your health and fitness protocol for the next year. And I'm walking them through what it looks like because I'm planting the seed for what a long-term health journey looks like, most importantly. And then I'm going through what my protocol is, how it can work for them. And then if you're interested, apply below. Then they're going to apply. Then I'm going to send a value video based off of the best applications that I'm getting. And then I'm going to book calls from there. So that's a good example of content ecosystem and just making sure that everything works together based off what my goals are. Um, this this is like my client call-in week. So the last week inside of any given month. This is where I'm just going to clean up all my leads, right? Like anyone who I've been speaking to for the last 3 months, 6 months, any other applications that I got prior, right, over the last few months, I'm going to follow up with them and I'm going to tell them I'm taking on new clients this month. I think they'd be a great fit for it. And then just personally invite them to what my coaching is. So they kind of skip the line, right? As you can see here, they go directly into an offer and then potentially booking in calls. But the reason why I do this to kind of close the loop on this whole thing is because this and the invites that I make from this, it's 100% within my control, right? This isn't necessarily within my control. I can do the best I possibly can, but I can't like 100% control the offers that I make from ads. I can't 100% control the quality that I get from ads. Um, that's why I like to make sure not all my eggs are in this basket. It's a part of my strategy, but also I've got a really strong organic strategy that feeds the funnel. But also I've got like a in the trenches personal strategy where I'm going to personally invite five or so people to my one-on-one coaching at the end of the month to get them here. So I've got personal invites working for me, I've got organic working for me, and I've got ads working for me, right? So what does this do? This puts me in a strong position because I might be having a really good month with ads, which is awesome. So if my organic content is kind of weak this month, it makes up for it. Ads might be complete shit this month, which happens, right? Sometimes it goes through phases and it totally screws me over, but that's okay because my organic is rolling and the one-on-one invites that I'm making are converting well, right? So I'm rolling that way. Maybe my list, because this happens periodically as well, maybe I've kind of like tapped out my list and I'm like, oh man, I don't really have a lot of people I can make invites to this month. Well, maybe my ads are rolling this month. So it kind of it makes sure, like you guys see what I'm getting at here. It makes sure that I don't have all my eggs in one basket. So when one rung inside of my acquisition strategy is not performing the way I want it to, I have different points and different strategies that can make up for it, right? Because how many of you have been in a position where you don't have the people that you want and you're like, ah, shit, I'm kind of screwed, right? Or maybe it's organic content, or maybe it's ads. And that's why having different lines in the water just helps make up for the ebbs and flows of the nature of business, because that's the nature of business. Not every single month is great for one particular strategy. Now, I know this looks like a lot. To be honest, this is actually pretty basic. I have different strategies I make with clients that have referral strategies, different joint venture strategies, ad strategies that are more complex. This is pretty basic. This essentially is like a one man or a one woman show operating system, because all of this stuff is within your control. Like you don't need a team to be able to help. Maybe you have someone helping with like editing or something like that, but this is all 100% within just a one person operating business. This is more than, yeah, capable for you guys to operate on your own to see some really good results with. So anyway, to close the loop on this, guys, this is what I'm building for my health and fitness company, in particular this month. And obviously, I'll share with you guys everything else that I'm doing as well. But this just gives you a good idea of a really solid plan of action when it comes to content marketing, client acquisition, and just overall making sure that you're generating high quality attention, but then directing that attention to where you want it, right? Instead of just letting it kind of sit on your social media platform. You want to direct it to where you want it to go, which is exactly how all of this is designed, and kind of the method to the madness, if you will, of what this looks like. So Basically, any given month, I'm going to change up the call to actions. I'm going to change up the conversion mechanism depending on what my main focus is for that month. But for me this month, it's all about premium one-on-one coaching. So that's what I'm directing traffic to. And then I'm going to qualify from there. So anyway, that is my training for today, guys.